Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Vented Uplift. I'm Chrisie Canny, your host, CEO of Vented in Brooklyn, the aromatherapy jewelry company with the mission of helping you feel good, smell good, and do good. When you buy a bracelet, we donate a bracelet to a cancer patient or give a percentage of our profits to a charity that we're working with. This week on Vented Uplift, we're bringing different women on all the time. They're sharing their successes, their failures, their whatnots, and they're taking lemons and turning them into lemonade, and they're sharing with them. So this week we have on our good friend Maureen, which, yes, we just had her on for our Magnificently Made Mondays, but this has nothing to do with the anthology that it's finally here, that has arrived. This is more about the amazing opportunity that she is giving people to write a story, and I want you all to hear about that. So I'm going to bring her on a second. So let's play. I think I'm cool that I know how to do that. You're so funny. I know. I do like this song. And I do like yours on your podcast. All right, everybody. Welcome, Maureen Spataro, our good friend. And I'm going to be official, and I'm going to read her bio.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. A motivational speaker and a survivor of multiple sexual and domestic violence traumas, which began at the age of 6. Maureen released her first book, Press Pause, The Breakdown That Rebuilt My Life and Changed a Family Legacy, in April of 2020. Maureen has shared her message of survival and hope as a speaker at Monmouth University, Georgian Court University, both Long Branch and Neptune High Schools in New Jersey, the Attachment and Trauma Network Conference in Washington, D.C., the Lightworker Series in the New Jersey Arts Center, and What's Your Story USA. As a guest on several podcasts and shows, including Sonstein Sundays and Woman in the Loop on iHeartRadio, Wheelhouse, Be Inspired, and This Is It TV, Maureen's goal is to share what it took for her to go from emotional and internal deafness to creating a life she loves. Recently, Maureen was asked to launch her peer-led support group for the Stephanie Pars Foundation. Yes. COAP is a contributing author of the upcoming Magnificently Made and is the host of the podcast Unsilenced, Unashamed, Unstoppable, which is killing it. So,
thank you. Wow. You know what? We are killing it. I haven't put it on my page yet, but we just surpassed 2,000 listeners.
That's amazing. I just want to know. I went on and looked at mine, and I think I'm like at 6. So I was like, you know what it is, Maureen? It's really that you're just having a conversation, and it's not nothing. It's like, it's not too this way. It's not too that way. It's just like sitting down and having a heart to heart, and you really get people to relax and open up to you. I've listened from beginning to end to everyone. I think you're really doing a great job. So everybody needs to go listen to Maureen's podcast. You can easily get it on Spotify and just hop in the car. And when you drive in that morning traffic, just put it on. But okay, so I don't want to talk about Magnificently Made, even though it's exciting that it is finally here this weekend and that we're picking it up.
Yes.
I want you to know, how I started stalking you, even though we were friends before. But people want to be an author, right?
Yes.
And they start asking questions like, "Oh, Chrisie, how did you become part of this anthology? Maureen, how did you, get that?" And you're giving people a really, really amazing chance. And I want you to talk about it. And, I want to set you up now as well, because people who follow you and know you, we're all devastated at the loss of your mom, Ronnie. You shared such beautiful stories, and the past year, her bonus year.
Yeah.
I
love that. Yeah. Her bonus year.
I just thought of that. I thought that sounded nice. Her bonus year.
What? That's beautiful. Thank you, Chrisie.
Yeah. Because you were told that she was going to pass before Halloween last year. You didn't think you were getting those last holidays with her, even though now it's, hard facing the first time without her. But you shared these beautiful stories with us all that really inspired us. And you told us that there was going to be a book, but you and Mom, you talked and you decided to do something different. So as as the end of her life came. Can you share everybody this amazing opportunity that you have coming?
Yes. So first of all, I love that, her bonus year, because the last 14 months were a bonus. She was given 6 to 8 weeks to live, and she far surpassed it. And we have amazing memories of her. And it gave me the ability to share more stories about what it was like to live with her, because I was living on my own. And all of a sudden I have my mother living with me again. And, you can either dread it, fear it, or embrace it and enjoy it. And I understand when people dread and fear it, because it's an unknown and it's your mom. But I decided to embrace it and enjoy it. And I realized that because I was doing that, she was enjoying it, because she didn't want to live with me. She was an independent woman too. So, as I was experiencing things with her, I started to write, just kind of, I guess, blog a little bit on Facebook about life with Ronnie. And in the last month or two before she passed, I had been thinking about, releasing the book Life with Ronnie next year. And it just kind of became this thought of, how wonderful would it be to have other people share stories that I could read? People really were so wonderfully complimentary and loving and giving and supportive about the stories I shared. But, how wonderful would it be to give everyone the opportunity to do that? So, as my mom got toward the end and the conversations became a little bit more serious, although we didn't know the end was coming even as it did, she would say things like, live your life, take me with you. I don't want you mourning. I want you being happy. And in your happiness, I want you to take me with you and take the memories with you. So when she did pass 3 weeks ago, I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. This is what we talked about. And I'm going to entitle the book, Take Me With You, and stories and, memories about the mothers, their wisdom. And at first I opened it up as a contest that people would have to pay $25 to submit their story, and a panel of 5 publishers and authors would decide which stories got picked. And it didn't sit well with me. So I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to pay the authors of the stories that are picked the $25. And I'm going to include them in the launch, and I'm going to include them and their mothers, if their mothers are still with us. And if their mothers are not still with us, then they themselves and family members will be included in a documentary. And that was kind of an extension of the idea that I tossed around with Ronnie, because, this is my own personal opinion. There is so much chaos. There's so much sadness. There's so much bad news in the world right now that I really feel like we need to get back to the basics of what it is to remember where we come from, remember the simple lessons that our parents teach us. Because when I think about it, all the lessons that I passed on to my daughter, they're simple lessons. They're simple pieces of advice, and life makes everything complicated. And I want to give people the opportunity to sit down and share something about their mother, whether it's a story or advice that she gave them, or a situation that you went through together and came out whole in the end. I want to read those stories. I want people to remember either the mother and the love that they gave them, or honor their mother who's still here, with the opportunity to share a story and then be part of a documentary that highlights their relationship. I tried many times to ask Ronnie to come on Unsilenced, Unashamed, Unstoppable. And she just wouldn't do it. And I knew that this day would come where I would think, this is going to be such a huge regret that I couldn't get her to do it. And it is, because it would have been a wonderful conversation. And now I want to give other people that opportunity to do that, because when they do pass, it'll be such a wonderful memory. It'll be such a wonderful gift. And I just think it'll make a great book. Honestly, I do.
So are you looking for, so let's just say, like, to be a published author and share a story, usually would cost you money, so this is really an opportunity for somebody to get their story out as a writer, without that cost, which is,
yes,
that's a gift in itself.
Yes.
So are you looking for happy all through, or are you looking for some people who have maybe a tough relationship with their mom and mourning them?
You know what? I want any story that you are willing to share. I actually had someone contact me. She saw it on Facebook. I didn't know who she was. And she said that she had a tough relationship with her mom. And it wasn't until her mom had passed that she started to realize and appreciate a lot of the things that they went through. And she said, so it's not going to be that happy-go-lucky story, but there is a message in the end of it. That's still a good message. And I said to her, send it in and let's see. I have taken myself out of the equation in terms of deciding what story goes in it. I will look at the final 25, and if I feel like, okay, they're a good fit for what I have in mind, then I'll leave it at that. If there's something that's questionable, then I'll discuss it with the panel. But I'm not looking for, just the happy and the funny stories. I'm looking for the stories that come from your heart. And my mom and I had a lot of tough times. We really did. There were a lot of moments throughout our life that our relationship was challenged, and how I felt was challenged. And we came through it. We still came through it. But even in those stories, there were lessons and blessings and honesty that I think it's important to share with each other. It's important to share the hard stuff as much as it is to share the easy and the good stuff. Perception is everything. So we all live our social lives with the perception that everything is great and terrific and wonderful. What I found by not living that way and being honest and, being willing to take some of the hits if they were going to come, was it opened me up to a lot more people that almost seemed to appreciate the fact that I was being honest, that no, my life isn't all wine and roses. My beautiful relationship with my mother, like that I had toward the end and throughout life with Ronnie, that wasn't our whole relationship. That was a part of our relationship, but it wasn't our full relationship. It wasn't the hard times in our relationship. And, we came across as just regular people that had real lives. And that's how I still try to come across. Look, this is what's going on in my life right now. This is how I'm trying to handle it. And it's opened me up to a much broader audience. And that's kind of what I want to do with this book. Like, hey, for me, there's funny in everything. There's even funny in the worst circumstances. So that's how I try to tell the bad. But I also tell some of the bad, deep from my heart. And I know that there are people out there who want to do the same.
Right.
So.
And you're looking for 2,500 words, more or less, or?
I think it was 3,500 words or less.
35.
And a picture of your mom. And anyone who is in the book does have to agree to be in the documentary. I'm doing the documentary with Purple Fox Productions. And
so it's going to be amazing because it's Jared. Yes.
Because it's Jared, and he does beautiful work. And I want to celebrate the relationships that we have with our mothers or our mother figures. Someone else got in touch with me and said, well, my grandmother raised me. Well, then in my book, she's your mother. You know, she's just your grandmother because of the order in which you were all born. Some people have mother figures who raise them. Yes, that's a mom.
Yeah.
That's a mom to me. I would like to expand it and make it a series of books with, you know, take me with you about fathers, take me with you about grandmothers, siblings, about those special people that are in our lives, and just use it as a reminder. And that as terrible as it is, that the things that are going on around us, we still have so much light and love to hold on to because of the people that are closest to us.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you say about, you know, the terribleness that's going on around us. And you talk about the book of a mother. Something that I've always taught my daughter is the importance of being a mom, right? Like, so when she would get bullied or, you know, and you try to give the other hand, like I wasn't, you know, I annoyingly always play the devil's advocate but I would just be like, you know, you have no idea who that girl's being raised by, right? Because the mother can break you or she can make you. If you have somebody that tells you every day that you're a piece of shit, they're going to think they're a piece of shit. And when somebody tells you how wonderful and that you can go get it and you can go do anything, you know, that is a mother or an aunt or a grandmother or a role model. And, you know, and that's what we need in life. You know, all this trouble in the world right now is because people are being taught from a young age that somebody with color or religion is not worthy.
Yes.
So, you know, it all comes down to the importance of being a mom and how crucial a role it is.
Right. What is the responsibility that we take on as a parent? And, you know, I'll be the devil's advocate and say, you know, part of, you know, people, I lost my train of thought because I keep thinking about what you just said because it was so profound and so true. But everything can be traced back to who we are, how we were raised, who were the people that raised us. And being a mom is a tremendous responsibility because you're literally shaping the thoughts and feelings of another human being from the moment they enter the world. Some of us get it right. Some of us get it terribly wrong. And if we're lucky, then other people
we get it right one day and we get it wrong another day. Believe me, my daughter still talks about it. I might have hurt one of her Barbie dolls, but you know.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Kayla's got a whole litany of stories that I'm just like, you can write your own book, you know, that there. And you have my permission. You can talk about me in all my glory and all my huge mistakes. But again, they were a product of how I was raised. And then as I started to raise her and I started to look at her as a human being, it was like, is this really what I want her to think? And no, maybe not. Maybe I need to switch this off a little bit. So it's about putting common sense. My mom would say common sense is a superpower. Use it. And kind of getting things back to our humanness. A Jen Shamala word, which I love. And I really think that if more people spoke, had conversations, and stopped yelling and shouting and just kind of going with how they're programmed, we could be a lot happier in this world. But that could be wishful thinking, and that's fine. But that's where I'm coming from, and I'm sticking to that too, you know? So, yeah, I want to give people the opportunity to be able to tell a story. You know, in talking about the good and the bad and the reality of being an author is starkly different when you're on the side of writing the book and putting the book out than it is on the people who are reading it and thinking, oh, it's kind of like when I was a real estate agent. I went in there thinking, well, I've got a couple of friends that'll sell a house for me. I can make money. And then I became a real estate agent. I was like, oh, this is nothing like I thought it would be. This is 1,000 times harder. Being an author, writing a book and putting it out there is 1,000 times harder than that. And it's going to cost a lot of money, whether you're publishing your own book or you're just being included in a chapter. It's an investment, and it can be a very real investment. And if you're doing it to make money, I hope you have a side gig. If you're doing it to get your message out in the world, then I want to make that easier. I want to make that a little easier for you. And I want you to be able to put that out there and say, I'm part of this.
All right. So where do people reach out to you? How will they do it?
Well, they can go to my website, MaureenSpataro.com, or they can email me, which is basically going to send them, have them send me an email to Maureen.presspause, and that's Pause. Some people ask me, is it PAWS? And I'm like, oh no, it's PAUSE. Yeah. At gmail.com. Or they can just message me through Facebook on my Facebook page, Maureen Spataro. I'm pretty easy to get in touch with.
Okay. Now I wanted to do something sappy.
Okay.
Well, not sappy.
Yeah.
You've shared this before, but as a caretaker for your mom the past year, and these Ronnieisms that you've learned during her bonus year, what are some tips for people who are going through this?
The first thing is lead every day in patience and love, regardless of what you're
really hard to do.
Yes. Regardless of what your relationship was like, because there are some people who bring in parents that they've had a difficult relationship with. I learned that being my mom's caretaker and how I took care of her had more to do with how I was going to be able to move forward when she passed than what it was to actually be in that moment with her. People say don't live with regrets. Well, I have some regrets about certain things that I've done in my life and wish I hadn't done them. I don't have one regret. I don't have one, I wish I had done this differently when it came to taking care of my mom. And as good of a relationship as we had, it could be complicated at times because she was very stubborn. So taking care of her at times was like taking care of a stubborn toddler that I couldn't reprimand. And I wanted to give her dignity and her respect, but that required a lot on my part, a lot of zipping it, a lot of just listening. And instead of yelling and barking at her, letting her say what she had to do, and maybe coming back to the conversation later on. You have to make the choice, and you have to be willing to wake up every day and lead every day with love and patience. Because when they're gone, you'll be able to live with yourself in a way that makes you happy and makes you proud of yourself that you were able to do it. A more practical thing I would say, because we were talking before I came online and we're learning this the hard way, make sure your parents have a second person's name on all of their accounts. My mother had accounts that she paid her mortgage from, that she paid her bills from. I had all of those cards. I had all of those passwords. But my name wasn't on any of those accounts. And because my mother was fiercely independent, this is my account. This is what it's for. And I thought, okay, we have it all lined up. Well, as soon as Social Security finds out that they've passed, they freeze everything. And the scramble is on. You're not going to get death certificates in a week. You're going to have to wait for certain things. So make sure that they explain. If they don't, explain to them why. Don't be afraid to say, look, when you're gone, I'm not going to be able to take care of things the way you want me to. My mom and I toward the end had, look, Mom, when you're gone, and I would say it and it would break my heart. but I had to say it. And still, we didn't know everything. So, and if you haven't made those arrangements for yourself, it's never too soon. It's never too soon to make those arrangements. Don't think that you're jinxing yourself or you're bringing death upon you. Just make sure there are basic things that are done that can make things a little more easy for the people that you leave behind. And if you can, talk to them, play games with them, sit and watch TV with them. Just make really good memories with them toward the end, because they become different people. They become more childlike. They become more appreciative. And even if they don't become that way, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself to give yourself some peace.
That's beautiful. Have you been able to watch Jeopardy?
I watched Jeopardy for the first time 2 nights ago. I haven't really watched a lot of TV because we watched a lot of it together. I watched a lot of it at night together, and I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to watch this. I'm not ready to watch this. And I was somewhere else. I was at someone else's house, and the music came on, and I kind of froze for a second, and then I just kind of looked over, and I actually smiled when I saw it was Ken Jennings, because my mother loved him and I couldn't stand him. And immediately I went to the very first few weeks that she lived with me, and she would call Mayim Bialik Miriam Bialy, and she's not supposed to be on here. He is, and all those flood of really funny memories came back, and I was actually feeling good about it. And I thought, oh, there you are, Ronnie. Yep, I know. And it became, it wasn't painful the way I feared it would be.
Yeah, I think you always have to there's going to be days that it's hard.
Yes.
My dad died 20 years ago, right? And if I sit here and think about certain things, I can just bring myself to tears. But, you just want to, when Kayla has her children, you want to continue.
Better have children, at least one.
Not besides a grand doggy. Yeah. She says she doesn't want to.
No, she hasn't said anything. I don't discuss it with her.
I'm just saying, for whatever future great nieces and nephews, and maybe grandchildren, you want to keep that spirit of Ronnie alive.
Yes.
By teaching them those moments and those things and those Ronnieisms and things that, that you learned from her. Because that's how we keep them close to us, right?
That really is. Yeah. When we talk about them, when we laugh, just the small things. I mean, I'm sure it'll be weeks and weeks and weeks of me, coming across things. My mom left us little letters on a lot of her paperwork. One of the first little notes we found was, okay, children, stop crying. Come visit me at least once a year. I'll be waiting for you. And just remember to live happily and take me with you. And, I keep uncovering little things that she wrote. I didn't know she was keeping a diary, so I found that. And, they're all little reminders of that she's here, that she's still here, and her spirit is very much still in this house in a very good way. And, you can take them with you. You can take them with you everywhere.
That's right. And on that Take Me With You note, everybody get your stories in about your mom to Maureen at maureenspataro.com, and tell everybody where to find your podcast and who's your next guest up.
Oh my gosh. I love my podcast. I really love my podcast because, like you said, I really just sit down with people and have a conversation. And people, they come on and they're like, oh my gosh, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? And I'll have this wonderful conversation with them. And then we'll head into the studio and they're like, but you still didn't tell me what you wanted me to do or say. And I'm like, oh, we just did it. And they're like, that's it. I'm like, that's it. Like, there's no rules. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say, I will steer the direction. I will steer the conversation. And they're just the best conversations. Like you said, people are so relaxed and we laugh, and they're just great. So you can find it on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Audibles, or you can go to my website, MaureenSpataro.com, and you can listen to all of them there. They're everywhere. Unsilenced, Unashamed, Unstoppable.
All right. Are you looking for any more applications or sponsors for the show?
I literally will speak to anybody that has something to share, something to say. My next podcast, my next episode, I upload them every Wednesday morning. It may either be one that I did on my own again, or Brianna McCabe. So it'll be one or the other. And a conversation with Brianna was funny. It was shocking. It was, oops, and what they, depending on what my guest says will depend on what I say too. And I was listening to it. I was like, oh, I'm ready to tell people about that. All right. I guess so,
Yeah. All right. So everybody tune in and follow Maureen Spataro. And yeah, there's a lot to go do, and you want to be on a podcast, go pitch yourself to her too. Throw that in the email too.
Yeah. Come talk to me.
I'm very excited to, for this book to come fruition, you and Ronnie's dream. And I think it's really going to be great. And to have Jared from Purple Fox Purple Fox
Productions.
I don't know why I said Enterprises. What is Enterprises?
Inspired girl.
Oh, thank you. All right. And and then this weekend, Maureen and I will be in the studio, not either of our own. We're going to New Jersey. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be on Channel 12 with Jennifer Mawson with Piper. So stay tuned for some behind the scenes shots this weekend. Not exactly sure when that show is coming out. That's going to be about Magnificently Made, which is only a few more days. You can officially have it in your hands, and we will have it in our hands. I'm going to pick it up 8:00 tomorrow morning. So
yes, so exciting. I can't believe it's here. We're all going tomorrow to pick up our copies.
Yes. So everybody have a great weekend. Maureen, stay on 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
So we can get a bunch of writers in for this. And then complaining they have too many stories to read. That's a good thing. All right.
There you go.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.